What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. No time for an intro today because this video is crazy. Let's jump right in. All right, make sure to stay tuned till the very end because I've got an exclusive James Fox video to share with y'all. So this post right here apparently got posted on Reddit, and then apparently it was deleted. The person who posted it apparently deleted their account, and when I looked into this, the rabbit hole that I went down is absolutely bonkers. You'll never believe where we end up. So let's read this thing and just break this down. This was posted yesterday by someone, then deleted. I took screenshots about UFO found in Greenland. Now, of course, there's all this talk about Donald Trump, president of the United States, trying to, acquire Greenland, right? So stay with me because there's way more to this as we move into the video and some very interesting connections there. They also deleted their account. Not sure what to think. Interesting nonetheless. One of the archaeological UFO located in Greenland and has been far too large to put in any ship. At some point, according to my memory, maybe the late 50s, a large-scale installation was built around it. Now, there'll be more on that in a second. If you remember, Ross Coulthart talked about a UFO too big to move. We'll get to that. I only know a little bit about this specific case, but the building is roughly in the middle of Greenland, mostly underground and much longer in the west, northwest, east, southeast directions than in the orthogonal direction. There were a few years when the top of the building was visible on Google Earth, probably due to heating inside and the thin layer of ice above. But this was before 2010. I heard of this for the first time in 2006, early November. Coordinates of the installation should be approximately around, and then he gives the coordinates. Well, I looked this up, and here it is basically in Greenland. And as you can see, there's nothing on Google Earth, at least not right now in 2026. It's just ice. Ice as far as the eye can see. But what's also interesting is when I put in the coordinates into Google to do a search, it brought up a post from 3 years ago that also brought this up, the exact same coordinates. And this is the very first line. Someone posted the coordinates in a now deleted thread, and it didn't get a lot of attention. So that's interesting. So years ago, someone posted the exact same thing and didn't get a lot of attention, and it almost sounds like they're coming back to post it again. What does that sound like to you? A LARP, live action role play as we call it in this community. Not really too confident in this claim as of yet, but we're not done because it does get very interesting. I don't remember hearing anything about the shape of the object underneath, but I assume that it was neither spherical nor saucer shaped. But what I do remember is that it had a rather sizable container that was nearly empty, which probably storing nuclear material. Supposedly this was mostly empty when it was found, but I'm not completely sure about that. Interesting though, not reverent tidbit, that there were other large-scale underground installations created elsewhere in Greenland. And then they give a link to something called Project Iceworm. Right away, there's already some red flags. This sounds like someone that doesn't speak English normally, which, okay, maybe that's fair. Could be someone from Europe or Greenland or Denmark, right? I don't know, but something's off about the English for sure, because you wouldn't double check this before posting something like this on Reddit. And why would you post it on Reddit, right? So, but regardless, let's look up what this Project Iceworm is. Project Iceworm was a top-secret United States Army program of the Cold War, which aimed to build a network of mobile nuclear missile launch sites under the Greenland ice sheet. The goal was to install a vast network of nuclear missile launch sites that could survive a first strike. This was according to the Danish Institute for International Studies, which obtained declassified documents in 1996. The missiles, which could strike targets within the Soviet Union, were never fielded, and necessary consent from the Danish government to do so was never obtained. To study the feasibility of working under the ice, a highly publicized cover project known as Camp Century was launched in 1959. Unstable ice conditions within the ice sheet caused the project to be canceled in 1966. So that's interesting. And I guess they're just trying to add some legitimacy, like, see, look, this stuff has happened in Greenland before, right? So there's probably a UFO there. And I like how he says, like, the UFO, I assume the UFO was a spherical or saucer shape. Well, but you don't know. What do you know? And how does he have all this information? And he first heard about it in November 2006. Who is this guy, right? And then he puts it on Twitter, doesn't get any attention, comes back years later, right? And someone posted about those same coordinates back in May of 2025. So I don't know. My gut tells me something's off here. The approximate linear dimension of the object may have been similar as an order of magnitude to the 1997 Phoenix Triangle, but the shape was most likely not. You will probably be able to read more about this if the testimonies towards the IG have become public. Unconfirmed, but supposedly there was also a lot of bodies, under 100 inside the object, perhaps much more than all the other bodies added together. And it played an important role in rejecting the ET hypothesis in favor of the time traveler ancient civilization hypothesis. Two probably relevant images are, and then they include a link here, should be visible on Google Earth with data from around the mid-2000s. And I went to that link and 404 error found. There's nothing there at that link, right? Because again, this has been posted for years, and they posted, see if it gets any attention, come back. That's definitely a red flag and a sign of a LARP, if you ask me. But what's interesting is, a few things here, right? They're trying to figure out the size of it, right? They're so sure of like the size of it. It's like the size of the Phoenix Triangle. Some say that was huge, miles long. What are we talking about here? Right? That doesn't make any sense. And then there was, just under 100 bodies or something like that, right? More than all the other bodies added together. I mean, does that not sound like such a LARP comment, right? Does that sound like someone from an official capacity that would know about this? No. Then this would all be classified, right? Reddit would be taken down. Like this account something would happen to them, right? So they just create new accounts and then start posting this on different Reddit threads, essentially. That's what it sounds like to me, right? And the way they spelled some of the words in that post was just nonsense, right? They misspelled hypothesis and then spelled it right, like right afterwards, right? And the way they type civilization is a very British way to do it. That's the English way of writing it out. So something's off here. I don't know. What do y'all think? Are y'all buying this? But regardless, because again, as I started to look more into this, there are some interesting things, and let's pull that thread now. One of the more interesting parts, just to pull threads together from UFO lore, was at the very beginning when they said this. One of the archaeological UFOs located in Greenland and has been far too large to put it on any ship. At some point, according to my memory, maybe the late 50s, a large-scale installation was built around it. So again, if this was the size of the Phoenix Lights Triangle, which some people say was, a mile long or longer, they built an installation a mile long, a building, or I guess a base around it. But again, there's nothing out there. It is all ice. You can't really build out there. I mean, you know what I mean? It's Greenland. It's not, I mean, this just doesn't make any sense to me. But regardless, if you remember, Ross Coulthard talked about a UFO so big, they built a building around it, right? I think they were trying to maybe connect this.
People are going to question what I'm about to say. What if some of that shit is so big, it can't be moved?
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been told?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
How big is big?
Big. So big, they built a building over it in a country outside of the United States of America. I know that sounds preposterous, and I know, oh my God, you can just hear them now, the bleating debunkers. Let's see this investigated. Let's just see what happens. Let's test these allegations before the Congress. It's very, very easy for people to go, oh, there's no evidence. Oh, my goodness me. Let's just go away and ignore it. Let's test it. We haven't even got there yet. You know, there's a whole cadre of supposed experts on social media who are saying it can't be, therefore it isn't. And that's been the default for so many years. It can't be, therefore it isn't. Imagine if what Mr. Grush is saying is true. Think about the implications of that. And imagine if, as I've just intimated to you, some of these objects are not capable of being moved because they're too bloody big.
I mean, that's pretty astonishing. Have you said that before?
No, you're the first. See, I always save something for you, Jay.
Always save me a little something. No, seriously though, Ross, that's nuts. So you were told by someone, a trusted source, I imagine, that
multiple
yeah. That there is.
And the thing that amuses me is there is now, I have noticed, emerging on social media a plethora of tweet bots that I've never seen before. And they're running this constant line, this constant nagging line. Oh, where's the evidence? And you know what? I don't give a fuck what they say, because what they say is irrelevant.
Well, first of all, I think there's a lot of normal human beings saying, where's the evidence? That should be what everybody's saying. And Ross, you literally just said, let's investigate this. Let's test it for the evidence, right? So you clearly want people to look into this. So I don't know what he means by that. That's a peculiar thing. And again, that's something I see in the UFO community a lot. People downplaying, the truth, and people downplaying evidence, right? All of a sudden it becomes about the journey, not the destination. Okay, we don't need the truth. It's not about belief. It's not about evidence. It's just, let's just do this, y'all. I mean, who wants evidence? That's so, you know what I mean? That's so old school, which is crazy. But let's just pull this thread of a UFO so big, they built around it, right? And Ross has commented more on this. And in fact, he was asked a lot about this because this went pretty viral, as it would, right? And people were like, where is it? Where is it? Where is this thing, right? And he gave a few more details in another interview on that UFO podcast.
I can't tell you the country it's in. It's not America. But what I can tell you is that the place where it is kept is used for another purpose that is a laudatory purpose. That's as much in your interests in your country in the UK as it is in mine in Australia and as it is in America. So the simple reasons are that, there are other uses for the place where this object is stored.
All right, so he's basically saying there's other uses for it. It's basically sounds like it's part of, affects the UK, Australia, America, probably Canada, right? The Five Eyes Alliance, essentially, it sounds like. But it's outside of the US. He definitely wants you to know that this thing is outside of the US, right? Which is interesting. Makes me think it's in the US. But regardless, if this is even true, right? And remember, Ross said he was told by multiple sources. But what does that mean? Because there's a small pool of sources in the UFO community who give out UFO information, and they all kind of know each other. So very easy for them to be like independently give the information, and I got it from person A, I got it from person B, I got it from person C. Little do you know that person A, person B, and person C talk behind the scenes, and then you feel like it comes from independent sources, multiple sources. Okay, just saying, it's a small pool. But I don't know, right? What do you think? Is this real? And look, Ross hasn't stopped because he kept getting pressured and people kept asking him, where is this thing?
And we could end up with a Storm Area 51 type scenario if you came out and announced it.
I can tell you, mate, that would be a nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
And clearly he's worried about people going to it, which I get. If he named a place, people would definitely go check it out. But look, places get named all the time. Naval air bases, Area 51, right? All kinds of stuff. I just did a video right on the Naval Air Base yesterday on Maryland, Pax River. But people name places all the time. So it makes me think it's a place, if this is real, that it's a public place. It's not a military installation of any kind, because you would just name it. Nobody's going to be storming these things. And nobody stormed Area 51 either, nor were they going to. It was just a reason for UFO nerds to get together and party and wear UFO costumes and probably smoke a bunch of weed, which is fine. Sounds like a good time, right? But I'm just saying, it almost makes me think he's worried because it's a public place, that you could go to, right? So, I don't know. That's interesting.
I've had a lot of people say to me, I should just say I know where this large UAP craft is located. And I've explained very strong reasons exist for why that particularly national security sensitive installation shouldn't be revealed. Ultimately, we're all part of a very good alliance, the Five Eyes Alliance, that has kept world peace and security since the end of World War II. The Yakuza Agreement, the Five Eyes, an alliance between my country, Australia, and the United States, England, Canada, New Zealand. It's really important. And for the good reason, we don't want to jeopardize vital national security concerns.
All right, so he doesn't want to jeopardize national security concerns, but then he brings that up. Why even bring it up, right, at the end of the day? And bring it to Congress to do what? What are they going to do, right? So, I don't know. It's a little confusing. I think, sometimes you just start talking on a podcast, so maybe it was just that, and maybe he totally regrets absolutely bringing it up. I'm sure because he got pestered, but he has to understand why he would be pestered. And he's got to understand why people would ask for evidence. You can't talk about the greatest discovery in the history of mankind and that you have some sort of inside knowledge on it from your sources and then wonder why people want evidence. Wouldn't you be more worried if people weren't asking for evidence?
I know a lot of people think journos just publish and be damned, but, I've been in situations where I've known the identities of active intelligence operatives in countries overseas, and I've realized, Christ, if I published this, I could jeopardize their lives. So there is an element of source protection as well. I don't want the personnel in those facilities to be hurt, and it could create an international incident.
No offense, Ross, but it's not going to create an international incident. You're on a show called That UFO Podcast. Vetted is a UFO podcast. Nobody cares, right? At that level, I promise you. Nobody's paying attention to that level. It's just a bunch of nerds like me who are like, ooh, UFO so big. Oh, this is great, That's really it.
This is one thing a lot of people have been saying. Oh, you come out and just say it, Ross. Well, fuck you. I'm not going to say it. The bottom line is, why the hell should I say it? I'll say it when I'm feeling good and ready, when I've got my ducks lined up in a row and I've got my ammo and I'm ready. People in the UFO, UAP world seem to think this is entertainment. It's not entertainment. We're not under any obligation to tell you anything. The bottom line is, we'll report what we find when we're ready to do it and when the sources are ready to speak. And that might take a while, but I'm all about protecting sources and making sure they feel comfortable about coming forward.
And look, other people have been asked about this UFO so big as well. Luis Elizondo, the guy that shows fake UFO photos, also was asked about it on That UFO Podcast. And listen to this convoluted answer he gives.
Ross Coulthart, who you know well, and you've done a wonderful interview with on News Nation, and he's carved out a wonderful niche for himself through News Nation and his reality check show. People should check that one out. Discussed a while back a UFO so big that it couldn't be moved and was actually built over Lou, and it's still used to this day as a working building. And I wonder, was that something you had heard of at the time, and how common could that be?
I unfortunately cannot discuss that. I have to be very careful. I can discuss what is in the book because I have approval to do that. What you are referring to is something that I would not be able to confirm or deny. And let me be very clear with that. I cannot elaborate at all. If someone else has elaborated on it, that's fine. I have not been given any permission to discuss anything like that.
So I can neither confirm nor deny. I haven't been given permission to talk about that. You just confirmed that you may know something about it. But again, this is such a way to skirt around and tease people when you don't know anything about it. There is nothing about it, but you can kind of tease that out, right? Again, it's so stupid. It's just so stupid. Honestly, Luis Elizondo answering that makes me think it is definitely not real, just based on his answer and his credibility, right? And that wishy-washy answer that people are just getting tired of, right? There's only so long you can just keep answering things like that, right? But look, it gets even more strange because Stephen Greer also talked about a UFO so big they built around it, but he said where it was.
Had dealt with a facility outside Seoul, South Korea, where there was a huge extraterrestrial vehicle that they had downed with apparently some type of electronic warfare system that was they had to carve out a huge part of the mountain just to contain this object because it was too big to move to any other site, and that it is still there.
Korea? Mapsosa.
And you want to start talking about like gravity propulsion systems that the government's been hiding, and that there's back engineering programs. They've got crashed UFOs, and there's one of them. It's only like a couple 100 feet wide, but you go inside of it, it's the size of a football field. Like,
right, like
what?
the TARDIS.
Yeah. Or the one in Korea that's so big they had to build a building around it because they couldn't move it.
Right.
I want to know what that is.
Same.
So they even got Joe Rogan talking about it, right? And AJ from the White House, and want to know, hey, what's going on with that? And I agree. What's going on with that, right? And look, I think people have been very interested in the one Greer talked about, because I haven't revealed this publicly, but I was actually reached out to earlier this month in January, okay, by a Korean television station, one of the biggest in Korea, South Korea. Okay, it's been around since the late 90s, where they investigate mysteries and stuff like that. And they reached out to me on Twitter and wanted to talk to me about this particular UFO that may be stored in Korea, the one Dr. Stephen Greer talked about. Take a look at this DM I got on Twitter. We are covering the story of the UAP cover-up. In particular, in 2023, Dr. Stephen Greer is investigating the claim that a very large alien spacecraft is being stored at a facility outside Seoul, Korea. We would like to hear the various opinions of UFO enthusiasts around the world on this claim. So they reached out, I set up a Zoom with them, but then they sort of canceled last minute and said they need to prepare more and then they'll interview me later. I don't know if they thought, okay, we don't want to have vetted on anymore. I don't know if they talked to Greer, so I think Greer's involved. And we're like, oh, he was like, don't talk to him. I don't know. Maybe they'll come back around. That's what they said. They needed to prepare some stuff and then come back around. So I was trying to go on this Korean show and talk about this, but we'll see. So I'll let you know. But I just thought that was interesting, right? This is getting around. And is that the same one that Ross Coulthart was talking about, right? The one in Korea. I don't know. That's just interesting. Because remember, Trump has been trying to get Greenland, right? That's the whole point. And then this post comes out about Greenland, and that's why it's gone viral. People are like, oh, that's why Trump wants to get Greenland, because of the UFO, right? It's so big, they built around it, right? And again, is this the one Ross has been talking about for so long? Or is it the one Greer was talking about, right? But regardless, they were like, has to be, that's why Trump wants Greenland, right? Just the conspiracy theorist, mindset, right? That's what's happening. And I'm like, come on, this is crazy. But then I saw this interview with Trump and he said this.
Well, I'm not going to have to pay anything. We're going to have total access to Greenland. We're going to have all military access that we want. We're going to be able to put what we need on Greenland because we want it. We're talking about national security and international security. So we're going to not have to pay anything other than the fact that we are building the Golden Dome, and the Golden Dome is going to be something that's going to be very amazing. It'll be Israel times probably 100. And we need it. I think we need it. And it's all going to be made in the United States. We have the best weapons in the world. We have the best companies in the world. We want them to produce faster. And, we've put a mandate out. You're going to have to produce faster, whether it's the Patriots or the Tomahawks or the F-35s or anything else. We make the best equipment, but they have to make it a lot faster.
Golden Dome? Pin that. Because this new article from Liberation Times just came out talking about this sort of cover-up, right? Take a look at this. New allegations link former national intelligence leaders Clapper and O'Sullivan to UFO shootdown and retrieval program. And then inside the article, it says this. One source alleged to Liberation Times that Clapper and O'Sullivan oversaw a program codenamed Golden Domes, which the source claimed was jointly run by the CIA and the United States Air Force, where Clapper previously served. Golden Domes, Golden Dome, what's going on here, right? Is this the program, right? Did they really shoot down a UFO? Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. What's happening here? There's some interesting connections that I'm still a little weary of. And Clapper was in Age of Disclosure talking about some program, you know, in Area 51 and whatever. But then he also just recently came out and was like, oh, UFOs seem to be an America only problem, right? So he's kind of dismissing it. Maybe that leads some credence. So he's trying to dispel any rumors that he may be involved with running, you know, this program, right? But the Golden Dome thing was interesting, especially when you hear Trump talk about it. The source further alleged that the program could detect and track UAP even when cloaked and as they physically manifested. What? Right? Even if they're cloaked, they could still shoot these things down. The same source claimed the program employed a mix of electronic and laser-based capabilities intended to bring down what the source described as exotic non-human vehicles. Now, granted, that could just be drones, right? Wouldn't that be just drones? But either way, the laser talk, right? Because Trump just announced this. Breaking, Trump reveals the U.S. has a secret weapon called the discombobulator, which was used to render Russian and Chinese rockets useless during Maduro's capture. That's interesting. The device was purchased clandestinely in the final weeks of the Biden administration by the Department of Homeland Security's Homeland Security Investigations Division, using Pentagon funding that exceeded 8 figures, according to 2 people familiar with the matter. The device is portable, backpack-sized, and contains components of Russian origin, the 2 people said. So is this maybe like reverse engineered stuff or what? Basically, like, is this part of the Golden Domes that they're going to be talking about? But this is like backpack sized, right? You know, supposedly. But look, we've been doing laser, basically directed energy weapons, which is essentially what this is. And the Department of War confirmed this. We've been doing this a long time. This new video shows the U.S. Navy firing off a drone-destroying laser weapon. Its objective is to obliterate targets, including drones, fast-attacked craft, and missiles by melting or overheating them. So, is this part of the Golden Domes? Is this part of this UAP program, right? Like, non-human, exotic, right? It just becomes so confusing. And don't forget, Luis Elizondo was talking about drones as well. Like, the whole drone thing has entered, you know, UFO land. Something's going on, right? Something's not right here. That's what I'm saying. I think they're trying to bring drones into the UFO world and confuse you with drones, essentially, right? No, the drones are UFOs. When they say UFOs, they really just mean drones. When they say exotic non-human crap, they really just mean drones. So I don't know. This just went down a crazy rabbit hole, right? That one thing just starts to connect to the next, and all from this post about Greenland. But again, people were just like, oh, Trump wants Greenland because this UFO that's there. And the source of this UFO in Greenland is this Reddit post that's been floating around for years that gets deleted because no one pays attention. And they come back, you know. Does that entirely mean it's not real? I mean, no. But again, people who make claims need to prove it. This guy provided no evidence, right? And it was all very LARPy. I read a lot of these things. It's just very LARPy. Just seems someone pretending, right? And just taking things from the lore, right? I mean, there's plenty of movies about spacecraft or aliens being buried in the ice and found, and, you know, in Antarctica or other thing, right? Like Greenland is just that, right? Just this icy land, and where they're pointing thing that this is there, right? And it's archaeological. What are we talking about, right? And we built around it. There's nothing out there, right? So I don't know. And then, you know, it just, again, part of the UFO lore is to talk about UFOs that they built around, right? Just same thing as Greer. So I don't know, but the Golden Domes thing is kind of interesting. But again, I think they're just talking about drones. It's nothing to do with alien spaceships, which is what we're talking about, right? So just be careful out there, because I think real national security concerns that I believe in, right, for drones are making their way into UFO land. Why? That's the big question. All right, y'all. We'll see you guys in the next one. Remember about us. Every day's a gift, y'all. Peace. Now, normally this is where I show you a voicemail that someone left, right, on the vetted hotline. But this episode is going to be a little bit more special. You see, of a very special veteran that goes by the name online, Android Paranormal, went to the James Fox press conference, and he asked James Fox a specific question and recorded it. So this is exclusive footage. Credit to Android Paranormal. I'll put a link down below to his Twitter so you can go subscribe if you want. But he provided this footage. He basically asked James Fox about visa denials that some of the Varginha witnesses, encountered trying to go speak in Washington, D.C. So shout out to Android for asking this question. And here is James Fox's exclusive answer to that issue.
The visas, they never gave you a reason why they were denied?
So they denied two immediately. They denied, was it Liliani? Yeah, Liliani.
Okay.
Then they denied Marco Leal.
Yeah.
And then there were three that were under further review, which was a good sign.
Yeah.
And they approved Valkyria. And apparently that's a really good sign. Our immigration lawyer is like, oh yeah, this is looking good.
Oh,
we got
wow.
one approved. She's like, yeah, we have about a 75-80% approval rate.
Yeah, right.
So dot the I's, cross the T's,
Right.
like, she knew exactly what to look out for, putting the whole thing together. And then one of the witnesses had talked about, oh, well, what are you doing? Oh, we're doing this conference. Oh, what's the conference? Well, you remember the Varginha? Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, well, I was involved with that. And I thought, I don't know if I would have told. I certainly didn't. This additional review went on for a while. That's when I contacted Burleson. I said, Burleson, can you put your team on it? So he did. They were contacting the consulate. Hey, we're requesting them to be here. We want them to be here. This conference, we'd like. So it was the government, the U.S. government reaching out to them, and then they reached out to me too. Like, are you sponsoring the event? Here's who I am. Here's the film that all right out there for everyone to see. We thought we had it in the bag. We were like, this is going to be great.
So they revoked somebody that was already approved, basically.
I'm totally speculating. I don't know the ultimate, but I could tell you the immigration lawyer was like, well, that doesn't make sense, because they knew that,
So the immigration...
And the fact that Burleson's office was reaching out to them.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a slam dunk.
So the immigration lawyer said this was very
this.
unusual, basically.
She said the fact that they're under additional review and they kept their passports is a very good sign. And they approved Valkyria.
Wow.
And then they not only did they not approve the three additional under review, but the ones that weren't approved, they denied that one too.
Wow.
And the other, so
wow.
Very frustrating.
Thank
That's why
you.
we played the statement.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Please.